No, man. Dude, thank you so much for doing this, sitting down with me, hanging out. It's kind of weird, dude. Like, yeah, I almost feel like a little nervous right now talking to you.
Nah,
Just in this context is like so much different than just like hanging out talking about conspiracies and whatnot. But yeah, dude. uh, let's just get right into it, man. Dude, you're a double black belt, Pedro Sauer in the gi, 10th planet under Jeremy Fields, black belt, pro MMA fighter. I mean, legend has it you choked two bears with one hand.
man.
No, I mean, you've told me a bunch of stories in the past, dude. But I guess if you can, just kind of like, how did you get into martial arts to begin with?
Um, well, getting into MMA, obviously UFC. Like UFC was awesome. You saw Hoist Gracie choke out someone who was much larger, and they were much smaller, and you're like, well, what is this? Like, I really used to think you could just wrap someone's head up, and wrap your legs around them, and that's it. Like
Mm.
you could grab them. So I was always kind of interested in jiu-jitsu. And then fast forward, there were a couple kids in my high school that trained at this gym, CFS. So I'd heard about it in high school, and I was like, nah, not yet. Then 2 years out of high school, this guy Earl Locks, who owns a CFS down in Lake Forest, he was my neighbor. He was I'll say a brown belt at the time, and I finally decided to try a class because like a week or two prior to that, my friend Lenny, he had just started training this kid Lenny Crespo, and we started wrestling, play fighting the way guys do, and he took me down and armbarred me. What? Nah, bro, you can't do this. And then I was like, come on, let's go again. Dude shot in on him, and then armbarred me again. And he trained at HB Ultimate. He was friends with like Tito, Razor Rob, and some other people.
They shall remain
Yeah,
nameless.
some other people. Um, but some really good people over there, man. Like I remember meeting like Rico Rodriguez back in the day, and like Jason Mayhem Miller, and like all these old school names that were kind of coming up. But yeah, that's kind of how I got started. And I took my first class. I got completely destroyed by everybody. Everyone trashed me. I was like, all right, here comes that wrap the head, wrap the legs around them thing. Didn't work at all. They just passed my guard, destroyed me. Um, and at the time, like Ken had trained Tom Medina, who had fought UFC 3. He trained John Lober, who was the first person to beat Frank Shamrock in Super Brawl. Um, Lober at the time had just gone like a 20 or 30-minute draw with Igor Zinoviev in, I think, IFC back in the day. This is in Russia, bro. And basically, Zinoviev had him in a guillotine the whole time, but still, like it went to a draw. And man, it was crazy, bro. It was crazy. I went home. I had a bunch of guitar equipment. I sold it all. I sold everything I had, my half stacks, my guitars, everything, to pay for 8 months of training up front. And then you could train twice a day on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that's what I did. I trained every day, and then twice a day on those days. And
Wow.
yeah, like didn't look back.
That's crazy. I mean, a lot of I'm assuming there's going to be people that have no clue of some of the names you just mentioned
Mm-hmm.
because you've been around this for a while, right? Like, I mean, we're talking what, like 90s, late 90s, early 2000s?
2000, man. So I want to say I was looking at my white belt, and it had said, I believe it said September 2000 on it. Was when I
Oh, you
started.
dated your white belt?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of
I just
cool.
wrote the I just had the month and the year, September 2000.
Dang, that's cool. I should do
Yeah. So,
that.
bro, I thought like I'd remember everything. I've been punched in the.
A
Um,
little bit of CTE.
but yeah, like the people that I looked up to, you couldn't even find them, man. Like, I mean, the old school guys can, but like, bro, Eric Paulson was fighting back in the day. Everyone knows who Boss is, but Boss Rutan was. But then there were shows like Shudo back in the day. Like people don't remember, like Gilbert Melendez was fighting in Shudo back in the day. There were the Japanese fighters, man. Rumeno Sato. Uh, there was man. Bro, there was a point where BJ Penn had smashed everyone in the UFC, was going through those contract disputes, then flew some of the best fighters in the world to Hawaii just to beat him up. He beat Rodrigo Gracie, Renzo Gracie, and then flew out Takanori Gomi just to choke him out.
BJ Penn did that?
Yeah.
I had no clue
To
about
rumble
that.
on the rock, bro. Yeah, because he wanted to fight the best people. Bro, he fought Lyoto Machida.
Just because he wanted to?
Bro, yeah. There was like some backstory where whatever, dude, between two camps, and Lyoto's like, yo, you can fight my guy your size. He's like, no, I want to fight you. And BJ fought him, man.
The prodigy, man.
Yeah, but that's how it was, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like anything, there were all these up and comers that were coming around too. I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but
I mean, all those guys you're talking about now, those are like Hall of Famers now, you know? Been around forever, you know, or not, I shouldn't say forever, but like at least decades.
Bro, I remember I just wanted to be like Jens Pulver, man. I was like, here's a 155er who could be champion. Like, you could be a fighting champion and be a small guy.
Right.
Like, it was mind blowing to me, bro. Like, okay, cool, bro. Like, here's Jens. And then Miletich had that first team. Well, not first because he had Lions Den, but there was like Miletich, bro. Who he had? He had Jeremy Horn, he had Jens Pulver, he had the Hughes brothers, he had Robbie Lawler, he had Tim Sylvia. How many champions are in that team?
You know what's crazy to me right now? You're rattling off all this stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, you had to write down the date on your white belt.
Bro, it is crazy, man. You guys know I can't find my phone sometimes. Dude,
I know, it's so funny.
You'll mention a fight or a technique, bro, and it's in the database.
You're like, fight recall is insane.
Bro, I'm like Rain Man for fights.
Oh man. No, but so when you said, like, going back to, you know, when you started, your buddy armbarred you and kind of like, I guess, put a spark in your brain to kind of like, dude, this can't happen again. So you initially just jumped into jiu-jitsu and weren't even thinking about MMA, or was it like a combination? You were like, I want to do MMA too, or what, you just didn't even know what anything was at that point?
I wanted the total like combo pack, bro. Total everything. That's one of the reasons, aside from it being around the corner from my house, was CFS, Combative Fighting System, with Ken Gabrielson. Ken was the first or second, it's debatable, it doesn't really matter, American Jiu-Jitsu Black Belt under Hailson Gracie. So he's a Coral belt now. I believe three of his sons are black belts too. He's got tons of black belts. Leon Jiu-Jitsu spawned off of that. Combative Fighting System spawned off of that. So a bunch of different schools. But Ken was also certified in JKD, Jeet Kune Do, under Paul Vunak. I believe Paul Vunak was under Dan Inosanto under Bruce Lee. So Ken had receipts, and his guys would win, you know. And then we wouldn't just do JKD; we'd do some like Muay Thai stuff too. And there was this guy, Jules, a little guy, it was like under 130 pounds, mailman, just trash everyone. His technique was so fire, but he was smaller, so his knees would hurt. He was just amazing, bro. But he would also hold pads for us and help train me. And I remember going in there too, like. Nowadays, you could go in and you're like, man, I want to fight. And the guy's like, great, there's fights this weekend. Come on in, man. Let's sign you up. You know, and bro, I walked in there and they're like, you're not going to fight for 2 years. There's no way. You're not going to go out there and get your ass kicked and like make me look bad.
Is that kind of where you get that from? Because I've heard you tell people that before.
100%.
Yeah. Bro. I mean, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want, you know, somebody to go out there representing your school and they just get trashed in their first week.
Can't mix martial arts if you don't have martial arts to mix.
Yes. Yeah, dude, I love that saying.
Like, I would love to tell them, sure, you can. Like, you can do anything you want, man. Doesn't mean you're going to be good at it.
Right.
Like, you have to respect this art. So if you come in, and it's different timelines. So you come in and you've never wrestled, you've never done striking, you've never done jiu-jitsu, minimum 2 years. And in that 2 years, you need to do some jiu-jitsu tournaments, you need to do some amateur striking, and you need to take a wrestling class or get really good at guard. At least know how to sweep and wrestle up. You know, after that, after you've done some tournaments and that you've done some point fighting, then start combining them. You know, working your striking and the takedowns, working your jiu-jitsu with your striking, and then you just take your amateur fights. Like when I started with it, they didn't have amateur. Now it's awesome. You get shin pads, you get headgear. I believe you have to win 3. I could be off on this because I'm old. But I believe you have to win 3 matches before you can even turn pro. So
Oh,
it's
really?
like, yeah, there's like a vetted system, you know. I know Tracy Hess, great guy. He was putting on. He's with Sub Fighter Long Beach. He was putting on some amateur shows. The name escapes me, but great guy. He's done tons of stuff for people. Um, but yeah, the amateur scene now is, it's really cool, bro. You could bring people up. So once you have martial arts to mix and you go through that kind of like betting system and you see people's character, you see how they are, how hard they train. Like, are you in this to win it? You in it to be cool? How far do you want to go? Um, then yeah, I'm rambling again.
No, it's good, man. I
But
mean, because I don't think a lot of people know, like even myself right now, I didn't even know that you had to have a minimum amount of fights to even consider, being above amateur, like, or wins, you said, right?
that's what I was told. Like, I
Okay.
believe it was 3 wins
Yeah.
before you could go pro. And like back in my day, bro, oh, you just had to sign up. Like, you just had to, I'll fight that guy. My first fight, like my very first fight was like that. I had no idea I was going to fight. I went to an event with my coach. Someone in the audience said, I'll fight anybody my size. I was like, oh man, this guy's crazy. I'll fight anyone his size. And then
And he just happened to be your size.
happened to be my size. And then yeah, anyway, whatever.
Well, no, I actually, if that's the same video that I think we saw recently,
Yeah,
then yeah, dude, that was pretty fucking cool.
dude. All right, so we got to that point right there, right? So I go to these fights, and back in the day, this is, I want to say 2001. This is like late 2001. Um, Fighting was still sketchy. I wouldn't say illegal, but
Mm,
not like
not legal.
not okay. So you would go to these events, and they'd have paper on the windows, or they'd be in the back of gyms, and it'd just be like word of mouth. And you'd show up with your fighters and your cornermen, and you go back there. So my coach was reffing one of these events, so I went with him. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm a young kid, man. I'm like, dude, 20 or 21, like barely 20, 21. And I was just like, oh, this is awesome. I'm gonna go watch my buddy fight, because the heavyweight was my friend, my training partner.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go there. That kid calls someone out. Earl gets on the phone and calls Ken. I'll never forget this, man. I'm sorry, Ken. I don't even know if it's true because I didn't fact check it. But Earl comes up and he's like, Ken's drunk at a Charger game. He said you could fight. Get ready. Start warming up. I'm all, what? He's like, yeah, I called Ken, man. I told him exactly what happened. He says, bro, you're ready. You'll smash this kid. You're good to go. And at that point, it had been about a year and a half, like, that I've been training like crazy, like all day, every day. So I'm like, all right, immediately, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Immediately, like, super nervous, just like, like, well, I was, I didn't come for this. No, like, we're here to hang out and watch. But you can't show that. You're just like, all right, start warming up. Let's go. Like, scared inside. And so I was warming up with my buddy Matt. His name is Matt Fremling. He was the heavyweight, old school heavyweight king of the cage back in the day. Won some bare knuckle fights. Like,
Dude, he's a serious guy.
yeah, bro. Like, used to do security for motocross guys. Dude's awesome. He was a good dude. And we're warming up, and keep in mind, this event, it's called John Lober's Bare Knuckle Bloodbath, was like the name of the event.
Amazing.
Yeah, bro. Like, back in the day, like that's what I'm saying. Like, this is crazy. Back in the day, it was no gloves. Everyone agreed to it in a cage. Like,
Just go.
just go. So I was supposed to fight this kid, no gloves. Anyway, I'm warming up with Matt, and I hit him with a Japanese whizzer. Right. So when I hit him with a Japanese whizzer, we're in a ring. It makes this loud noise, and everyone turns. Like, we're warming up, bro. Like, it's not like I grabbed him and threw him.
Right.
But after that, everyone on that kid's team looked over and they went, oh, this kid trains. Within 5 minutes, they come back to like, all right, it's still going to be no rules, but you guys are going to wear boxing gloves.
They changed it up real quick.
Changed it up real quick. I'm all, what?
That's
I was
hilarious.
like, whatever. At this point, I'm like, all right, whatever. So anyways, man, I think you can see in the video, bro, I'm wearing like some gray shorts that someone had. And wear these boxing gloves, and bell rings immediately. I'm moving around, and I shoot, because bro, I'm a jiu-jitsu fighter. That's what I
Right,
do.
right.
I shoot with boxing gloves on and get my neck wrapped up within seconds. And I'm just like, what'd I do? Dude, I have oven mitts on. So I'm like pawing at this, bro, trying to get out. And what felt like 5 minutes, bro, it was probably like 15 seconds. And then,
Yeah, literally, probably like 10, 15 seconds.
literally, dude. And I end up popping my head out. And then I hit him with like a few combos. He cracks me really hard with just like, a right or a left as he's fading away. And then, dude, I think I hit him with like a few more punches and like 10 knees to the face. But I felt bad, bro, because I ended up breaking his nose. And the whole reason he did that call out was because he was going to the Marines for boot camp.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so he got delayed a little bit. But yeah, nice.
I mean, I guess that's the definition of, fuck around and find out.
Dude, my first couple fights were just weird like that.
Yeah.
Like underground situations where you're just kind of thrown together and like, okay, you're fighting. I was like, what? Okay, let's go.
That's crazy. How does that how does that feel like when you're kind of like, when you describe your first match being that it was like, 20 plus years ago?
It's not even real.
Yeah.
It's not. It's so weird, bro. It's like, dude, the most important things are like, are my kids up? Did we let the dog out? Like, is everything ready to go at the gym?
Right.
Back then it was like you're literally training all day to just fight someone, bro, like in a cage, like another human in a cage. Like what's illegal for dogs is like legal for us. And
I mean, but like you said, it wasn't legal at the time.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. It's wild. I mean, obviously we're not like dog fighting in there, but still, it's crazy to think about, bro.
Yeah.
I don't even believe it. Yeah. And then there's other days where you're like, you take a couple steps and bounce, and you're like, I still got it. And then you take that extra step, and then everything hurts again, and you're like, nah,
yeah, no, I don't got that. Yeah. No, it's so cool for me to hear because, and the reason that question is interesting to me is because, like, you've been doing this for 20 some odd years, and like I've been doing it for 3, and we're like the same age, practically. I think I'm a little older than you, but so that's why that kind of stuff is like super interesting to me, because it's like, you were there before anything was even anything, and like even just talking to guys that have been around that long it's always just really interesting, and it like really grabs my ear because it's just like I've grown to love this sport like just tremendously. Like I can't even describe like how much I like absolutely love it. I mean, so to hear like what it was 20 plus years ago, like, borderline illegal kind of dog / cockfighting, you know what I mean? It's
wild.
It's
dude.
cool, man. It's really cool to hear that stuff,
Bro, so ADCC and CJI were both T-Mobile, Thomas and Mack Center, right?
Yeah.
Crazy, bro. The trials are huge all over. Dude, and like I remember doing the trials at a high school or a junior high in San Diego in 2011, bro.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying is like you've got to watch things evolve so much from a high school gymnasium to the T-Mobile arena. Like how bananas is that,
It's crazy, man. We were talking, it was funny, it was my daughter's birthday, it was Rise's birthday. And we were talking at dinner last night, and we're like, I think it was Helena Carver came up, and we're like, look, she's 17 years old, like does jiu-jitsu. We were showing her Fifion Davies and Mackenzie Dern, like, look, girls get paid to do jiu-jitsu. Like it's crazy what you could do now. The Rotolos, bro, Nicky Rod,
millionaires,
bro, and then throws out the my million versus your million, winner take all. Like you guys are crazy. You just got that million, bro. Like hold on to that a little bit longer.
I mean, but yet that makes you think like,
but that's what it's all
how
about.
Much has he already made? Bro, that where he can say, you know what, here's $1 million up.
That too, and then how. This is what I like about it, man. How important is it to you that you're number one? Right? That's like some Highlander samurai. Like, bro, this doesn't mean anything. What means everything to me is proving who's the best in front of everyone. you and me, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what's cool about MMA. That's what's cool about jiu-jitsu. Take away judges. When that happens, there's a winner, and that's the coolest part about the sport is there's so much truth and reality in it. Because no matter
I
what,
agree.
you either won or you lost.
Yeah, and he's calling out, quote unquote, the best.
Yeah.
And he wants to be that. He wants that crown.
Yep.
So that's why he's like, take my million.
As he should, bro.
If you can get it, here it is.
Yep.
But yeah, so no, it's definitely like, it's ballsy, but it's awesome, to see him do that too. I agree. The talking about CJI, ADCC, and and you say it right now, like that's the love about jiu-jitsu, love about MMA. But do you consider ADCC and CJI jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. There's elements of jiu-jitsu to it, so it's all grappling, right?
Mhm.
Is it like the old school fundamental, like old school like Brazilian jiu-jitsu ideals of stay safe, don't get hurt, defend yourself, and make sure you go home. That's number one. Number two, submit them or break them. But number one is keep yourself safe and get out of the situation and go home. So in that aspect, no, because there's rules and there's a rule set, but it's good for the sport. It has aspects of jiu-jitsu in it, and I think it helps jiu-jitsu evolve. I really do, man. I feel like jiu-jitsu's evolved completely, and then every time it evolves, it kind of goes back and circles back around too, because whatever it's evolving to has probably been done before, but just not in the way it's being presented now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Like when Danaher came out, it was like all leg locks. But if you were following stuff before, like a bunch of Japanese fighters, sambo fighters, they all did leg locks. But then it's like how did Danaher's guys present it and bring it to the forefront? Well, they destroyed everyone with it. So then everyone starts adapting their stuff. So not necessarily any new moves, I guess buggy chokes. But yeah, I can. It's still jujitsu. It's like, is it like philosophical, old school martial arts jujitsu? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's definitely dopest way to present it, because the hardest thing to get it across was the rule says, right? There was just it's sometimes it's boring to watch, but there's a lot going on. But like people don't want to sit there and think that, they want to see action. So I really like the push for the action. CJI I feel like was the best tournament I've ever seen. Hands down. Like,
it was super entertaining for sure.
Dude, it was wild, bro. The energy, and to see, we were just talking about it, but to see how it just kind of started out, and by the end was just the energy was packed. Everyone's screaming. 2 millionaires are made. It's crazy. And like we were saying, bro, I missed so many ADCC fights because I didn't even know they were going on, because I like could not stop watching CJI. It was crazy. It was wild.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think that that's kind of going back to the evolution of it. Like you said, 2 millionaires were made from a quote jujitsu
crazy
competition.
Yeah, when normally you gotta register for an organization, have them give you a card that tells you pay to train, that someone else had paid to sign off on, that you could pay to enter, that you pay for a medal, you might win, but if you use good techniques, you also might get DQ'd. Like,
I think we all know what organization you're talking about,
bro. Dude, all of them that don't pay you.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
All of them that you pay and get a medal bag in. All of them. But you need that experience too, because there's awesome guys that put on tournaments. Like Russ Mura, Stay Grounded. Andy and those guys over at Fullerton just put on an amazing tournament. So with the ADCC rules, start getting guys ready. So
yeah, I think like I know there was a beef with ADCC and CJI, but like I think ultimately like ADCC is not going anywhere. That rule set's not going anywhere. People are still going to love to compete in ADCC, whether an open or their goal to get to the championships. That stuff's not going to go anywhere. Again, and I think it's just going to evolve and get bigger and bigger and better and better. And who knows? Maybe ADCC will make millionaires one day.
Think of, bro, Okay, think about this. What if you could go back in time? Some crazy. Sorry,
Yeah,
dude.
no, go over it.
What
Go
if you
over it.
go back in time and like you had to pick who would be the first millionaire that you made from ADCC? Like you go back in time, put $1 million in someone's bank account. Like right off the top of my head, like no disrespect to Eddie Bravo, but Marcelo Garcia, bro.
Mm.
Like Marcelo Garcia, that dude should be the first millionaire from what he did because he was the GOAT. There was this crazy YouTube video too. It was like Marcelo Garcia, the GOAT. It was this just him choking out everyone.
Oh, yeah, I actually think I saw that video where it was just clips of him choking everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I think everybody would agree that that guy's one of the greats. You know what I mean? Like, if not, yeah, one of the greatest. I don't think it's disrespecting Eddie Bravo anyway. I mean,
Oh no,
especially
no,
we have 10th Planet right behind you,
dude.
We're all 10th Planet,
It's all love, bro. We all know what you did to Hoyler twice,
For reals,
2
dude.
times.
I mean, dude, like speaking of 10th Planet, like I know you started off, going into the gi first off, and you ended up with Pedro Sauer. But like, when and how was that transition to in your brain to kind of like, what, I wanted to go to 10th Planet specifically for Nogi training and get my black belt there as well.
It was right before I moved back to California from Utah.
Mm.
So there was like a point where I moved to Utah to train full time and fight full time. And while I was out there, one of my teammates had made the Ultimate Fighter. And when he came back, he was on Team Liddell, and Scott Epstein was the jiu-jitsu coach for that team. So yeah, I was just raving about Scott's jiu-jitsu. He's like, going back to California, you gotta look up. Bro, sorry about your voice, but going back to California, you gotta look up Scott. I was like, all right, awesome, man. So I was living in Corona, and Scott's in West LA. So I called him, and he's like, hey, we got a sister school in Riverside. That's where Jeremy Fields and Sean Bollinger were.
Mm.
And so then I went there. I rolled with Sean Bollinger, and bro, I don't even know how many times he tapped me out. And by the time when I rolled with him, I had 31 fights and was a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, bro. And he just pieced me up like I didn't even know jiu-jitsu. And at the rubber guard, everything was crazy. So I was like, all right, I'll train here. So then yeah, that was 2011, and I just never stopped. And then Jeremy ended up opening Corona, and then I stuck with Jeremy, and 2019, I got my black belt from them. So after 8 years.
Wow. So 8 years of straight no-gi training to get the black belt.
Mm-hmm.
And then how long did it take you for your gi black belt, to rewind a little bit?
So I started in 2000, but then like Ken moved, so he closed down his school, and then Earl didn't open a school right away. And then I was training with this guy, Jeremy Williams at Apex Jiu-Jitsu, old school Nogi MMA guy everyone loved. And around that time, I had moved to Utah, and that's when I met Pedro Sauer. So from 2005 to 2014, I was with Pedro Sauer, and that's when I got my black belt from him.
Wow. That's crazy, dude. Like, I think it's amazing, like, to just even say like you're a double black belt. Like, there's not a whole bunch of people that can say that. You know what I mean? Like, not even that you're, because I mean, I feel like if you train in the gi, you also train in no gi, so you're kind of like a double black belt. But like, you went to like 2 different systems, and like completed, in a sense, completed those systems to become a black belt in both places.
Bro,
You know?
and that's the thing. Like you nailed it. It's 2 different systems.
Yeah.
Like Pedro has his own like collar sleeve system that you go through, like self defense, like basically original Gracie Jiu Jitsu, and then 10th Planet, bro. There's so much to it. Like
And
there's
constantly evolving too.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a new language. So it's like read the warm ups, come back to me.
Yeah, those warm ups, dude. Yeah, let's not talk about those.
They're fire, bro. Perpetual training camp. They're fire once you get them. But when you tell someone to go, mini stomp to super stomp to pin pan, they're looking at you like, what?
Yeah, it's funny, when I was
Drink the Kool-Aid.
when I was training I trained like a day in Chicago, and they specifically were like talking about the terminology, because they say like, nobody knows what we're talking about when we're there. When you're rolling, you know, I can yell out this kind of arm bar, but they don't even know it as that. They're thinking about it like maybe in a Japanese terminology or something. But we're talking about, like you said, pimp hands and all that
Muddy
stuff.
waters.
Exactly.
Like,
like what did this guy say? So it 10th Planet is just it's been a wild ride.
dude, but it's the best, bro. It's so innovative and it's so revolutionary, and it's about what is the best for the system and what works the best. And it's if there's something that's getting shut down and destroyed, dude, it's got to evolve or it's got to go.
Right.
And I really think like it's always been evolving, but once Geo won, EBI won, I feel like it really blasted off. And man, that was just wild to see like their kind of influence, and then you get all these top 10P guys all over the world, and to see how they kind of evolve and bring everything together.
Yeah, I mean they're still out there. They were just in, as we were talking about, ADCC and CJI. There was 10th Planet representatives in there.
Yep, Ryan. Shout out to Ryan Atkins, bro.
Yep, dude, for real, beast. Yeah, one of the things I've always loved about 10th Planet, and we're talking about, it evolving and things evolving in general, is like, I guess the open-mindedness of it, to where, like you're saying, like you can bring in new techniques and no one looks at you weird. You can throw out something wild and outrageous and no one's like, that's stupid. It's just kind of like, let's try it.
Mm-hmm.
If it works and we can throw it in there, like, hey, let's do it. That's one of the things I loved about it, or I love about it, I should say.
Yeah, all good jiu-jitsu is good jiu-jitsu, man.
Dude, that quote, I'm telling you, man, when I heard it from Jeremy, I posted it a few times. Like, I even got my brother saying it, it's a great quote, dude. All jiu-jitsu is good jiu-jitsu as long as it's taught well.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can you say anything different from that,
Bro, if it works,
it works.
It works. There's nothing you can do about it, bro. But man, my favorite is everyone's heard it, bro. And some people have done it. Maybe I've done it. But when you get completely destroyed, but you're telling the story, and you're like, bro, I was almost here, and I had this, and I was gonna do this, and we were rolling over, but then you barely caught me, and I tapped. And you're thinking like, damn, bro, this was an epic battle. How long was it? He's like, minute 45. You're like, huh? What?
All that happened in a minute and 45?
Yeah, like all that. I don't even know where I'm going with that.
But no, but in all realness, that does happen
all the time, bro.
So much stuff can happen in 1 minute.
Yeah,
it's like insane.
But you know what really happened? Dude, like took you down past your guard and just head and armed you, bro, like a child in no time. It's okay. It happens to all of us.
Dude just turned his hips and moved one way.
Yeah, bro. It's happened to me in front of no one, and it's happened to me in front of thousands.
I've heard you say it before too. It's so funny. Fancy flopping. That's all jiu-jitsu is.
Dude, it's
flopping your body around.
The art of flopping and falling side to side with your knees and elbows tight.
Dude, I think we're gonna have to do this again because like there's like so much more, dude. Like I can keep going with you. Like
I'm sorry, bro.
No. I'm serious. Like we're gonna have to do it again because, because you've been doing this for so long, and there's like just so much stuff. Like I could just sit here and pick your brain about and just ask you about the history of stuff you've been through and stuff you've seen. But then we'll end up with like a 3-hour episode, and we're not Joe Rogan here, so
you're good. Hey, bro, and I ain't famous, so we're good, bro.
We're both not famous, but this is awesome, dude. I love right now sitting down with you and just hanging out and just talking about a little bit about your history and whatnot, and talking about where we train at and all that good stuff. But please tell everybody where 10th Planet Chino Hills is, the address, the Instagram, all that good stuff.
Cool, man. At 10th Planet Chino Hills on Instagram, and then 4070 Chino Hills Parkway, Chino Hills, California. If you're 10th Planet family, pull up. If you're not 10th Planet family, pull up anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Our website, 10thplanetchinohills.com. If you guys have any questions, you could reach out. And yeah, I appreciate you, bro. I
Dude,
love what you're doing, man.
Thank
I
you.
love all your photos, your videos, everything, bro.
Thank
So,
you, man. I appreciate it. I
appreciate it.
appreciate you, dude. Seriously, for just sitting down and talking to me. And it's what's funny right now is I just realized is that I don't even think I introduced you at the start of this video. So for anybody that's still watching, this is Jeff Willingham. We just kind of jumped in and just started like laughing and talking crap. But Jeff Willingham, 10 Planet Black Belt, owner of 10 Planet Chino Hills, Chino Hills Warriors. Look it up. Look up the history. Dude's amazing.
Look into it. Like Eddie says, look into it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, man. Thank you much, man. Appreciate you.
No problem, bro. Dude, you gotta is there any video left over?